Hello everybody and welcome to the training. So as you can see from the title of this training, we are going to be talking about how you can build trust by posting on your social media channels on a regular basis, which can ultimately help you win more clients and also build up better relationships with your existing clients as well. So there's a lot of content that we're going to cover, and I really want you to get the most from this and learn as much as you can so you can start to implement what you learn as well. So what I've found in order to do that, whenever I'm going on trainings and listening to webinars or things like that, two things really help. So the first thing is to remove any distractions so you can completely give this your 100% attention. And the second thing is to take notes. Taking notes has been proven to help you remember what it is that you're learning. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of good information that we're going to cover here. And I really want you to be able to remember this and also to be able to apply it in your own business as well. So if you have like a notebook or something like that, you can take notes like this, or you can just type them down on your computer, whatever works for you, but definitely use something to take notes so you can remember everything we go through. So other than that, I just wanted to show my face at the beginning and say hi. I'm going to share my screen now and go through the rest of the content. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the chat box, or if you're listening to the recording, then you can just leave a message or reach out to me through email or social media or something like that, and I'll be more than happy to help. So I'm just going to share my screen now, and we'll jump straight into the training. So just before we begin, I want to make sure that I don't waste your time and that this training that you're watching right now is going to be perfect for you. So to start, I'm going to answer this question: is this training right for you? And everything we're going to cover in this training is right for you if, number one, right now you go to your social media channels and it looks a little bit like this. So in other words, it's empty, or you don't update it very often. Maybe you post a few things maybe once a month, maybe once a week, or basically once every few months, or basically not very often, right? So if your social media channels look very empty and you're not posting on a regular basis, then this is definitely going to help you. On the other hand, if you are already posting on social media, and maybe you are already posting quite regularly, but you're just stressed out with the amount of time that it takes you to post things, and you're wondering if you're doing the right things and if there's actually a quicker and better way to be posting on all your social media channels, then again, this training will help you. Because it shouldn't be a stressful thing, posting on social media. It should actually be a fun thing, something that you look forward to and something that you want to do, and also something that takes the minimum amount of time on your end or your team's end as well. And finally, if you're a little bit confused with what to post on social media, how to post, what kind of content to share, what are the best practices, what are the best hashtags to use, or should you even use hashtags in the first place? So if you're a bit confused with how to actually post on social media and what are the best things you can do to get you the best results, really what I want to do as a result of you being on this training, by the end of the training, I want you to feel like this, right? So I want you to be confident with what it is that you're doing and what it is that you're posting on your social media channels. I want you to know what is the best things to post and what are the best social media channels for your specific business. And I want this to be a fun and a really enjoyable process for you. So if you're still on this webinar right now, then I assume that you match, one of those criteria, or maybe all of them, and you're ready to learn and you're ready to get started. So let's dig in with what we are going to learn and what we'll be covering. And there's basically 3 lessons and 3 things that I want to teach you by the end of the webinar, okay? So the first lesson that I want to cover is why posting on social media regularly is actually important to win more clients. So it's important we answer that question, why? Because if you don't know why, you're not going to be very motivated to keep doing this, at least to keep doing this consistently. You might start and you might do it in the beginning, but then you might stop if you don't really see what kind of results you can get and why it's important. The second lesson that I'm going to teach you is what is the best content to post and how can you easily find it. And the third lesson is how to use scheduling software to save time and not be stressed out or overwhelmed. So in this day and age with technology, there's a lot of tools, really, really cool tools that you can use to save you a lot of time so that this doesn't become a task that takes over your life or your business. and really it can take you the minimum amount of time while at the same time getting you the best types of results. So that's what we're going to cover, and let's dig in straight into lesson 1. And in lesson 1, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about why posting on social media is important. So to get started, I thought it would be good to just bust some myths that people have or people say about posting on social media. So before this training, I asked everyone, what is your biggest challenge with posting on social media? And I got all kinds of really good responses and questions and feedback from that. And there were a few trends that I've seen from some of those responses, and I've seen elsewhere online in other training or in other communities by other people. And I just want to clarify them here because it comes up quite a lot. And it's all related to why posting on social media is important in the first place. So first of all, let's go through some myths, right? Myth number 1, or what people say, is that all you have to do to post on social media to win more, all you have to do to win more clients is post on social media. So that's all you got to do. If you keep posting on social media, you'll start to win more clients. Now, what do you think? Do you think that's true? Do you think that's false? Maybe a little bit of both. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Okay. And the truth of the matter is, when it comes to posting on social media is just the start. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit more about what I mean by this and what process you need to take to have a successful social media campaign. But if all you do is post on social media, you're probably not going to get the best results. Posting on social media is the foundation of a good social media campaign. And it's very, very important, but like I mentioned, it's just the start. And more importantly as well, it's important what you actually post on social media. So it's not just about posting on social media for the sake of posting on social media because other people tell you to post, or other people say, hey, you should be sharing things on social media. There's actually a strategy behind this, and it is important what you actually post and share. And again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what kind of things you could share and what would be the best things to share as well. And the second myth is, and I get this quite a lot as well, is that you need to be posting 1 million times a day. Now, yes, okay, 1 million times a day is a bit of an exaggeration, right? But you get what I'm trying to say here. You hear people say all the time, you should be posting multiple times a day, as much as you can. Just keep posting, be everywhere. And I kind of get where they're coming from on this. They're basically trying to say you need to be seen and you need to get in front of people by posting. But the truth of the matter is that these days, on social media, quality is much, much more important than quantity. Okay, so it's much more important for you to post less things, but less things of a higher quality than posting things all the time just for the sake of posting things because other people tell you you should be posting things. Okay, quality is more important than quantity. Now, you still need to be regular and you still need to be posting, like, as the title of this training is called. It's about posting on your social media channels regularly, and I'll go through what regularly actually means in a bit. But just so you know, I say this about everything, not just with posting social media updates, but also with lead generation and even when you win clients and you generate sales, quality is more important than quantity. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The third myth is, this is another quite common one, is that some people say that you shouldn't post promotional stuff on social media. So you shouldn't really try to sell to people when it comes to using social media. So this is an interesting one. What do you think about that? Well, the truth is that you can post promotional stuff on social media if you do it right. And you have to remember that at the end of the day, you own a business. Okay, so you need to be seen to sell to people. People need to know what it is that you do and how you can actually help people. And you shouldn't be afraid of selling to people. But there is a warning that goes with this. You have to do it in the right way. There is a way that you can do it where you come across way too salesy on social media, and other people see that kind of stuff, and then they just get put off by it, and then they'll unfollow you and they'll leave you, and they won't want to have anything to do with you. So yes, you can be promotional, but there has to be a strategic approach to how you do it. And there is a right way and a wrong way to do this. And I'm going to be sharing with you the right way so you know exactly how to be promotional and how promotional you can be on social media. And by doing it this way that I'm going to teach you, you are not going to annoy anyone at all because you're going to be providing value and actually helping people. Okay, so the final myth that I have here is that this is actually a more recent one. I've started to see this a lot more recently, is that people have been saying no one will see your posts on social media unless you do paid ads, so paid advertising. So unless you pay to get your posts and your content out there in front of people. So this one is a bit interesting because actually the truth is it depends, okay? And it really depends on what social media channel you're using. So for example, if you're using Facebook, right now Facebook is the largest social media channel, which means competition is really high and there's limited space in the news feed, and Facebook is going to prioritize, well actually they've announced recently that they are going to prioritize your friends rather than business pages to appear in your news feed. But on top of that, with Facebook, because there's so many people using it and there's so much competition to be in the Facebook newsfeed, you do kind of need to pay money on Facebook to really get in front of anyone. That's not to say you won't get in front of anyone just posting things organically, but really the trend is when it comes to organic reach, especially on Facebook, the trend is that organic reach is decreasing while paid reach is actually increasing. Okay, but there's something else, there's another side to this that I want you to keep in mind. Even though organic reach is decreasing on social media, there's something else that you need to keep in mind, okay? And the thing you need to keep in mind is that people are actually checking you out on social media to see what you're like. And this is sometimes quite a bit of a revelation to people because they think, oh, wow, you know, I didn't really understand fully the buying behavior of people when it comes to what it is that you sell. So I'll give you an example. When someone is looking to work with you or they've heard about you for the first time, in the olden days, what people used to do is they would go to your website and, you know, check out your pages and your services and, you know, read a little bit more about what it is that you do. But people know that, you know, you can put pretty much anything you want on your website. You're in full control of that. And it's sometimes not super transparent when it comes to your business and what it is that you do and what you're doing more recently, because maybe your website hasn't been updated in quite a while. You know, the person, unless you have a blog, the person doesn't always know that. So what people are doing more and more these days is that they're actually checking you out on social media as well as your website. So if you have links to your social media channels on your website, they're going to click on those and they're going to see what it is, what are you really like? You know, what are the things that you're actually posting, and what are you sharing, and you know, who are you connected to, and what kind of an audience do you have? And they're basically going to be checking you out on social media. And really, you have to ask yourself, why are people doing this? Why are people checking you out on social media? And this brings me to the biggest reason why posting on social media is important. Okay, this is super important for you to understand, because posting on social media, the main reason you want to be posting regularly is because posting on social media builds trust. Okay, this is a trust building exercise. Okay, so posting on social media is a trust building exercise. Okay, and as you know, people do business with other people and other businesses that they know, like, and trust, right? So that's why it's important that you build up trust, because more trust equals more sales. That's really, really important for you to understand. So if you understand that if you post things on your social media channels, even if organic reach is declining, just the fact that if you post things and people go to your website or they go to your social media channels and they see that it's active and they see that you're posting things that's going to be relevant and interesting to them, to your potential clients, that is going to have a massive effect in building up trust. And as you know, trust equals more sales. So this brings us on to lesson number 2. And in lesson 2, I'm going to be teaching you what is the best content to post and how can you easily find it. So in order to do this, we have a very simple process that we actually go through. It's a 6-step process. And I'm going to go through this process now. So if you're taking notes, you actually might want to note this down, or you can even just print screen the slides if that's easier for you, whatever works. But note these things down, because this is all you need to do really to post social media updates on a regular basis and post the best content and start building up trust. Okay, so let's go through this 6-step process. The first thing you want to do is you want to know your audience. This is really, really important. So you need to answer 2 questions really. Number 1, who are you targeting? And number 2, what are they actually interested in? And by what are they interested in, I mean, what are their challenges? What are their concerns? What are their goals, their aspirations? Anything that you can share on social media that will actually help them, whether that's challenges or aspirations or goals that they might have, that's going to be interesting to those that you're targeting. If you can't answer these 2 questions, if you don't know who you're targeting or you're not very clear about that, and obviously if you don't know who you're targeting, you're not going to know who they're interested in, then everything else you do isn't going to work. So this is really the first step to a successful social media campaign. And when it comes to posting on social media, you need to know very clearly who you're targeting and what are they interested in. So let me just give you a quick example. These are just some of our clients. So we post social media updates for them on their behalf. So let's just go through the first example. This is a company called BizStory. They focus on actually creating content, so creating written content for websites and blogs and things like that. And they're actually targeting other web design agencies. So web design agencies that don't have people that can create content or write the content for websites that they create. They can do it for them. Okay, so that's who they're targeting. So what kind of things do you think it will be good for this company to post on social media? Well, if you've guessed things to do with web design agencies, things that web design agencies will be interested in, then you're absolutely right. So here's a few screenshots of some of the things that we've recently posted. So you can see this post here on the left. We talk about how to connect with your clients on a deeper level using live events in your design agency. So again, that's advice and tips and things that design agencies are going to find interesting. Then we have another post on the right. It says great tips for web designers on how to be creative when you aren't feeling creative. So again, it's specifically going to be content that's interesting to those web design agencies. Here's another example. So Gerard Financial is an accountancy firm, and they are specifically targeting charities. In fact, they exclusively only work with other charities and non-profit organizations. So again, the question is, what kind of things do they need to post that's going to be interesting to charities? So let me give you a few examples of some things that we've posted recently for them. So on the left here, we have an article which goes through how you can get your charity ready for the year end. And this is a little bit more related to taxes and accounting and things like that, which is absolutely fine to post that stuff. But again, you don't only need to post that kind of stuff. You can post things that charities in general will find interesting. And as the example on the right says, this content that we posted goes through learn how charities could make better use of designated funds. So again, this isn't really super specifically related to accounting or how to do your taxes or anything like that, but it is going to be interesting to other charities and non-profit organizations. So this is going to be content that they will find interesting. And that's, again, the kind of things that you want to post. Now, one of the questions I get quite often when I go through this is, what if you're targeting more than one niche or more than one type of business or industry or whatever? Then what do you do? So, you don't really have to overthink this, but what I would recommend that you do is, depending on how focused you are on one niche, you want to post things that are geared towards whatever niche you're actually focusing on. So I'll give you an example, because I just said that out loud and it sounds a bit confusing. So if, for example, let's just say you're targeting business consultants and you're targeting IT companies. So 2 very different niches or groups of people that you could be targeting. Now, if your clients, or if you're targeting in your marketing, you're targeting 50% of people who are business consultants and 50% who are IT consultants, then you want to be posting 50% of your content that's going to be interesting to business consultants and 50% that's going to be interesting to those in IT support. However, if your main focus is, for example, the main people that you work with are actually business consultants, let's just say 70 or 80% are business consultants, then 70 to 80% of the content that you post on social media needs to be for business consultants. And then the other 20 or 30% can be for the IT consultants. It's not a problem if you're targeting more than one niche and more than one group of people. You can still post a variety of content. So hopefully that answers that question. If not, just let me know in the chat box and I can, dig in a little bit more detail, or maybe go through a more specific example with your own business. So that's the first step, figuring out who it is that you're actually targeting and what kind of content and things that they would actually be interested in. The second step is researching 10 to 20 websites which post content that your target audience will find interesting. Okay, so this is really important. The reason why you want to do this is because you want to check out these websites on a regular basis and then use these websites that regularly post content, and you want to share the content out to those in your audience. So let me just show you an example of how this would work. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen now, and all you really need to do to find a list of 10 to 20 websites is just go to Google. And by the way, actually, sometimes you don't even need to go to Google. If you know your industry really well, you might already know the websites and the blogs and the YouTube channels and things like that your audience are already going to, and what content they're already consuming. But if you're not sure, or maybe you only know a few websites that your target audience are looking at, then you can just go to Google and type something in like, let's just use the example I used last time. Let's just say you're targeting business consultants, right? You can go to Google and type in best business consultant blogs, and then Google will actually give you a list of the best business consultant blogs. So we've got this page here that has 14 blogs. Obviously, not all of them might be great or related or good for you and your audience, but you can actually just go here and check them out. Or let's just say you're targeting small business owners or entrepreneurs. You could just do best SME blogs, right? And just see what comes up. So here we have, this article has 10 of the top small business blogs. This is this is another article actually, again with more business blogs. This one actually has 75 different small business blogs that you could use. And again, not all of them might be related, but you can just go through and pick the ones that are going to be related to you. So you want to have a list of around 10 to 20 different websites that regularly produce content. And you can do the same kind of thing on YouTube. Just use a simple Google search and search for different things and find blogs and websites that are going to be posting content that your target audience are going to find interesting. That's all you need to do. And once you've got a list of 10 to 20 websites, let me show you what you need to do next. Okay, so then the third step that you want to do is import these websites that you've researched into Feedly. Okay, Feedly is a really, really cool website. And let me just again share my screen and show you how this actually works, so you can see it as an example. But this is going to save you so much time rather than going to all these websites manually. Okay, so let me share my screen again and show you how that works. So let's just go back to Google. Let's just click on this article as an example and just find a few websites that we can use as an example, right? So if I want to target small business owners, maybe I want to target people that are interested in marketing, for example, I might use this blog here, HubSpot's marketing blog. I actually know this blog and it is actually a pretty good blog. So let me click on it and load it up. And this is all you need to do, is you need to get a list of 10 to 20 websites, as I've mentioned, load up their blog page. And then what you need to do is, once you have that list, you can have that list in Excel or your notes or whatever. Once you have the URLs and the website address, all these different blogs and places that you can get content from, and obviously, just have a read through and make sure they do post good content. I already know this blog, so I know they do post good content. What you then need to do is use the tool called Feedly. So if you go to feedly.com, you can sign up and use this tool for free. And what you can then do is you copy and paste the URL of the blog. So I'm going to copy and paste the URL of the HubSpot marketing blog, put it into the search box like this, press the return key. and you'll see it should come up where it says matching sources. The blog should come up, and all you need to do is click on follow. Okay, and that's it. And then whenever you go to Feedly in the future, it will automatically show you content from the HubSpot marketing blog. Okay, and then you can do the same for all of the different websites, all the 10 to 20 different websites that you've researched. Just put them straight into Feedly, follow them, and then in the future, you can, rather than checking all the websites manually one by one, you can just go to Feedly and check all the websites at the same time. Much easier. So let me actually go to an example of this. So I'm gonna use our Skyline Social account, and I'm actually going to go to the HubSpot marketing blog. So on the left here, once you start to follow the publication or the blog, this is an example of some of the blogs I keep an eye on for Skyline Social when posting things to do with social media and marketing and stuff like that for my own company. This is basically where the websites, your 10 to 20 websites will appear. Now you can see here I have a little bit more than 20 websites actually, because I've been doing this for a while, and there's a variety of different articles and content that I like to talk about. So 10 to 20 websites is just a guideline for you to get started. You can have more. I recommend that you try to get as close to 20 as possible, but again, every industry is different. For your industry, maybe there isn't a lot of good content out there, so you might struggle to get just 10. So every industry is different. In the marketing and sales industry, which is what I'm kind of in, there's loads and loads of content out there. So for me, it's pretty easy to find at least 20 different types of websites and publications that post content to do with marketing and sales on a regular basis. So anyway, once you've put it into Feedly, the websites, your 10 to 20 websites will appear here. So this is the example of the HubSpot marketing blog. So you will just click on it, and then you can actually see, first of all, it will tell you the most popular blogs that they've posted recently. And then if you scroll down, it will tell you all the latest blog posts. Okay. And then this moves me onto the next part of the 6-step process, which is step number 4, which is check Feedly every month for new content. So once you've put the 10 to 20 websites into Feedly, you need to then check Feedly once a month or once every few weeks, or how often you want to be posting on social media. You want to check the Feedly, the websites you have in Feedly on a regular basis for any new content. So as I mentioned, you'd click on all the 10 to 20 websites one by one by going down this list, and then you would just start to just click on any of the articles that look interesting to you. Like this one says, what is the Facebook pixel? So I would think, okay, are those that I'm targeting, are the people in my target audience, are they interested in what is the Facebook pixel? And for me personally, yeah, I'd think yes, they would be interested in what the Facebook pixel is, especially if it's an easy guide. This could be a good way to get them to understand how it works and how they can retarget people and all that kind of stuff using Facebook. So in this example, I would click on it and load up the website in another page. Okay. And I will just start to go through the list and just pick out some websites and articles and content and videos and things like that I think are going to be interesting to my target audience. And then finally, that moves us on to the last 2 steps of this 6-step process. So step 5 is once you've found the content that you want to share, what you then need to do in the 5th step is schedule that content using scheduling software. So you don't have to actually go to all your social media channels and manually post a link to that article on your LinkedIn and then on your Twitter account and then on your Facebook account and everywhere else. You don't have to do that. You can just use scheduling software to schedule out your content, the content that you found on all the social media channels, and you don't have to be physically posting things every day. You can spend some time, like today, you could spend some time researching and finding content, and you can schedule content out for the next 2 weeks or maybe the next 3 or 4 weeks, for example. And after you've scheduled out the content, you also at the same time want to make sure that you've optimized that content. So to get the best results, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the content looks good, so that if anyone goes to your social media channels, they can see the content looks good with the right images. You also want to tag relevant people, so that you can get in front of more people. So I'm actually going to go into a little bit more detail as to how you can do this in just a second. But just for you to know that the last 2 steps in this process is to schedule the content using scheduling software, and I'll speak about what software will be the best in lesson 3. And then you also want to optimize your content with images and tags, and just make sure that the content you share looks really good. So I'm going to go into a bit more detail as to how you actually do that in a second. But for now, I want to talk a little bit more about scheduling software. And that brings us on to lesson number 3. Lesson number 3 is how to use scheduling software to save time. So one of the questions I often get asked by people is, what is the best scheduling software to use? Okay. And to be honest with you, there's no right or wrong answer. There's a lot of scheduling software out there, that's for sure. So sometimes you can get a bit overwhelmed if you're doing your research. And there isn't a right or wrong answer, because a lot of these different types of scheduling software can all do the job. So a lot of the time it comes down to your personal preference. But I have been doing this for a while. I have been working with lots of different clients in training them on how to do it. And also we do it for ourselves and also for other clients. So I'll give you my opinion on what I personally find has been the best for ourselves and also for our clients, in terms of them finding it the easiest to use, and also them finding it the most effective software to use. So I'll share with you what I've found. When it comes to scheduling software, there's really 2 types of scheduling software. You have the traditional scheduling software where you spend some time like today or tomorrow, and you research different types of content, and then you schedule it out over the next few weeks. And then this is everything that I've mentioned here on the left. And then on the right, you have what's called evergreen scheduling software. So this is kind of like a set it and forget it type of way of posting on social media. Now, in the past, up until quite recently, evergreen scheduling software has been pretty popular with a lot of people because you only have to schedule things once, and then you don't have to worry about it. So what it will do is, as the name suggests, it's evergreen scheduling software. So it's going to post things on a regular basis, and it's going to, once it runs out of things to post, it's going to repeat the things that you've previously already posted. Now, this is okay if all you want to do is just share some stuff, but there's a few downsides to this, and especially recently with some changes that Twitter have made, it's now even more important to actually seriously consider using the more traditional type of scheduling software. And I'll go into a bit more detail as to what those changes are in a second. But for now, before Twitter made these changes to their rules and things like that, there's something that I personally, one of the reasons I personally haven't used evergreen scheduling as much as a lot of other people out there is because I kind of like it and prefer it when the people that I follow are posting fresh new content. If I see someone posting the same content again and again and again, it's actually, sometimes it can just put me off because I've already seen it. And then if they post it again, I know it's just the same thing repeating again and again. And I know I'm not alone in this because I'm also part of other communities where there's other, lots of small business owners. And a lot of people there have also said that they've seen people that they actually quite like, and businesses that they actually like, they've seen them posting the same content again and again and again. And they've actually been tempted to actually unfollow them and, not stay in contact with them on social media because they just keep seeing the same content again, and it just gets annoying. So that's one of the dangers with evergreen scheduling content. And I personally believe that it's actually much better, and you provide more value to those in your audience if you are posting new content. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't repeat something. So say you have a webinar or an event that you're promoting, or maybe you have a blog post that you've written or a guide or whatever. It doesn't mean that you can only post it once. What I'm saying is, don't post the same thing once. You can talk about that same event or that guide or that blog that you've written or that video that you've recorded. You can talk about it more than once, but say something different when you're talking about it. Don't say the same thing again and again. And that's what this scheduling software actually allows you to do. So If you're looking for my recommendation, I would actually recommend using some sort of scheduling software to do this. Now, again, you're more than welcome to do your own research, and if you still prefer to use evergreen scheduling software, that's okay too. It's better than nothing. It's better than not posting anything, that's for sure. But if you do want to post things a little bit more of higher quality and provide more value to those in your audience, I really do recommend you go with posting new things each month and each week and each day. To build up that variety and to build up more engagement and a better relationship with those that you have in your audience. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on choosing the best scheduling software to actually do this. And as I mentioned, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of software you can use. And what I want to do is just share with you my thoughts on what I think are probably the top 3, which are Buffer, Sendible, and Hootsuite. And I'll go into a little bit more detail as to what one I think is better in a second, but I do just now want to briefly just cover the new Twitter rules that have also gone into effect, because this is one of the reasons why, again, especially if you're using Twitter, I recommend you go to the scheduling type of software rather than the evergreen scheduling software. So the new Twitter rules are basically, 2 main things that they've released in the last month or so. The first thing is that you cannot post the same tweet more than once. And that's basically what a lot of those, if not all of those evergreen schedulers was doing. It would repeat the same thing again and again and again. And now Twitter is saying that you can no longer do this. The second thing that you can no longer do on Twitter is you cannot post the same thing to multiple Twitter profiles at the same time. Well, not even at the same time. You just can't post the same thing to multiple profiles. So if, for example, you have a Twitter profile for your personal brand and one for your company, you can't post the same tweet on both of those different channels. You have to post different things. And again, if you use evergreen scheduling software, chances are you've been tempted to actually post the same thing more than once and also post the same thing to multiple profiles if you do actually have that. But if you use the other type of scheduling software where you actually research new fresh content every month, then you're not going to have to worry too much about actually about posting the same thing again and again, because you're always going to be posting new things, and your audience will love that more as well because they're going to see you posting new things that they haven't seen before. So I just wanted to clarify that just as another reason why I recommend you also go down the scheduling software route. So just to, again, make this as easy as possible for you to make a decision on what scheduling software you need to use, because you do need to use something. So just to make it as easy as possible, what I would recommend is if you want something that is going to be free and easy, then use Buffer. Buffer is especially easy. Buffer is the easiest one to actually use. And if you want something low cost, easy to use, and also has a lot more features, then check out Sendible. Okay, so that would be my recommendation. But as I've mentioned in the beginning, whatever software you use, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure it can do the job. Okay, so whatever you use, as long as it does the job, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let me show you how it works on Sendible and Buffer, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail now on steps 5 and 6, where I was talking about scheduling content and optimizing your content. So let me just share my screen and show you how easy it actually is to start doing this using the software that we've just mentioned. So going back to using this article as an example, if you are using Buffer or Sendible, what they will allow you to do is install a plugin on your web browser. And then this just makes it so easy, because all you need to do is go to the content that you've researched, and all you need to do is click on the button in your browser. So if you use Buffer, it will be a Buffer button. As I mentioned, we use Sendible, so it's a Sendible button, but it's pretty much the same thing. But you just click on the button. So let me just do this now to show you how it would work. So this is the content I want to post on my social media channels. So I click on the button. I can select what social media channels. So maybe I want it to go out on my LinkedIn. Maybe I want it to go out on my Twitter. Maybe I'd put it on my company Skyline Social Facebook page. And then I can actually put what it is that I want to say on the post. So I can have, the title of it, what is a Facebook pixel, easy guide. I can also put if I think, if I have a look at the article and I think this is really good, I can say I really agree with, something that it says in the article. I could quote something if I wanted to. I'm in full control of what I can say. And you can do the same. Now, if you just want to get something out there as easy as possible, just use the title of the article. If you want to share a little bit more, such as your opinion and what you think of the article, then by all means, you can do that. But what I also recommend that you do is you optimize your post, especially on Twitter, by tagging relevant people. So if I go to Twitter, I can actually customize this update and change it a little bit more for Twitter itself. And what I would do is I would put, what is a Facebook pixel, easy guide, and then I could put buy, and then I'll put the @ and then see this person here. You can actually see their Twitter username here. So it looks like it's Big Red Dave, I think. I can't see the whole word. Maybe not. Let me have a look and see what it is. Oh, Big Red Dark 16. Okay, cool. So I can actually just click on this. Let me just copy and paste his URL. Load this back up again. So I can just tag him in the article because he's the one that actually wrote it. So he'll be notified that we've shared his post, the content that he wrote. And I can also tag the publication that it appears on. So I can do via HubSpot, as an example. So it should normally come up. There is HubSpot. So I can tag the publication as well. The reason I recommend that you optimize your post by tagging people is because more people will see it. More people will see this. So there's also a high possibility that this person and even HubSpot, because I'm sharing their content, they will also retweet it or they will share it to their audience. So again, that's going to get me in front of more and more people. And we've had lots of examples with clients where they've tagged other really big publications which their clients are reading, and the publication has shared it. And when they share something that you post, your brand goes along with that post. So everyone is going to see what it is that you're sharing and what it is that you do and who you are. So it's just a really good way, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, to build more trust and build up more brand awareness as well. So you definitely want to tag people on Twitter. You can also tag people on LinkedIn and Facebook if you want. That's optional. You don't have to, but you can. But for Twitter especially, I do recommend tagging people because it seems to work really well on there. And the only other thing you also want to keep in mind is the picture. So this picture looks fine, so I will just use that. But again, on Buffer and on Sendible, and usually any software that you use, you can replace the picture. Sometimes a good picture doesn't come up, or it comes up with no picture, so you can just replace the picture with something else that you actually like. And when it comes to using hashtags, in my experience, and we've done a lot of tests on this, and we've actually kind of slowed down and stopped using hashtags as much as we used to a few years ago, because we found that it doesn't really make that much of a difference unless you're actually talking about a specific, like an event that might have a hashtag that everyone's using, or if there is a popular hashtag to do with the date or something like that, then it can actually get some good traction. But just the generic hashtags like business tips and things like that, it's not going to make a big difference. At least not on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. On Instagram, hashtags are very important, and that can definitely help you with getting in front of more people. But on the rest of the channels, you don't really need to worry too much about it. So it is optional. If you want to put a hashtag, you can. It's not the end of the world, or a few hashtags, but don't go crazy with this. Don't do loads of hashtags. Just keep it simple, okay? And then all you need to do on Buffer, all you need to do is click on a button that says basically, you can buffer this, and what it will do, it will schedule out the post. And you can just basically, even on Sendible, you can do the same thing. I can add it to a queue, and I can queue it, which is the same thing as what Buffer does. And what this basically means is I can go through different articles and stuff like that on HubSpot, and I can start scheduling or buffering everything that I want to post, and it will start to post things for me every single day. So I only need to do the work once, and I can post updates for the next 2 weeks or the next month if I wanted to, and then I don't have to worry about it, which is really, really cool. So you can do exactly the same, and I recommend you do exactly the same. Just, do all the work up front. Spend time going through the content that you want to share, and then buffer it and schedule it out, which works really well. And just one thing as well that I think I forgot to mention, when it comes to posting stuff in Feedly and these websites, make sure you also include your own website and your own blog, because you don't just want to be sharing other people's content, you also want to share your own content as well. So as you're sharing other people's content to build trust and brand awareness, don't forget to share your own content, your own blogs, your own videos, and your own, the things that you do yourself. Any content that you create, you definitely want to share that on your social media channels too. So the last tip that I want to give you when it comes to posting social media updates and scheduling things is that you also, if you can, you also want to try to post what's called in the moment social media updates. So this is basically things that are happening right now and then that you can't really schedule out. So if something happens on the news that's kind of related to your business, you can talk about it. If something's happening in your office or where you work, or you're meeting with a client, or you're having coffee or whatever, things that are happening in the moment, that's the kind of stuff you can't schedule. So you can, at any time, if you want, you can always post that manually. And this is where Instagram especially works really well with posting these in the moment updates. But the great thing about doing what I've spoken about before with that 6-step process is that, even if you don't have the time or forget or whatever, you don't post any in the moment updates, you still at least have things going out every single day, which is going to build trust. And this is more of like an extra bonus thing that you can do if you want to build up more of a relationship with people as well, by letting people see what it is that you're doing behind the scenes and what's happening in the moment. And these things are really cool, and your audience actually really do like these kind of in the moment updates, and we've seen them work really well. So obviously you want to do both if you can, but even if you don't do this, at least you've got the other updates going out every day, which builds trust. So I just want to spend a few minutes now, as we're towards the end, answering this question. Is it better to actually outsource this or do it yourself? Now, hopefully with the 6-step process, you've seen that by following this, doing that alone is going to save you a lot of time, okay? And just make everything so much easier. But it is still going to take you some time. To research the content and to schedule it and find the best content and go through it. So it's not going to take you as much time if you were doing everything yourself manually, but it is still going to take you some time. So is there anything else you can do to save this time? Well, yes, you could actually outsource it. Now, I know when you see this question, you might think that what I'm going to try and do now is just tell you that you have to outsource your social media. But actually, that's not true. And sometimes when I speak to clients, outsourcing social media isn't always the best option for you. And I want to just help you make an educated decision as to what is best for you to do, depending on your own business and your specific circumstances and your own time, resources, and budget as well. You need to keep all of those in mind. So how do you decide which is better, to outsource it or do it yourself? So, to make it as easy as possible, this is what I recommend. If first of all, if you are a startup and you have no budget or a very, very small budget, then look, just do it yourself, okay? It's not worth paying someone at this stage of your business to outsource this. I would just focus on doing it yourself, okay? And save that money for now until you no longer have the time to do it. If you have the money to pay someone though to get this done, but you don't have anyone in-house to actually do it, then yes, outsourcing it is going to be the best option for you, because one way or another, this has to get done. So if you don't have the time to do it yourself, but you have the money to pay someone to do it, but you don't have anyone in your team that can do this, then outsource it. Okay, it's going to be really, really easy. And it's also going to be cheaper than hiring someone full-time to do this. It's going to be much cheaper as well to just outsource it to a specialist and someone that you trust. And if you have a marketing person or a marketing team or someone that helps out with the marketing in your business, then what you can do is actually you can do a little bit of both. So what I recommend with the clients that we work with that already have a marketing team or a marketing person is that we do the main bulk of the work. So we, research and post and schedule the updates each day, so you don't have to worry about that. And then what you do, or what your marketing person or team focuses on, is in posting in the moment updates. These are things that we just cannot post for you. You can't outsource that, because you kind of have to be there in the moment. You have to be a part of your team in the office, or be there working day in and day out. So you guys take care of the in the moment updates, and we will take care of the rest, okay? And the reason we take care of the rest, because that's the main bulk of the work, and that's the thing that takes up the most time as well. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how it actually works, I'm just going to spend a few minutes to go through the process that we take with clients, and you can see how easy it is for you. Whether you want to outsource it now or maybe you want to outsource it in the future, at least you know the process that we take and how it actually works and how easy it could be for you if you wanted to do this either now or at some point in the future. So we start off by actually doing the initial research for you. We find 10 to 20 websites for you based on who you're targeting and what they're interested in. So we do that for you. You don't have to worry about it. Then we manually go through all the content and select what we think will be the best for your audience. So you don't have to worry about that. We do all the work sifting through all the different content and picking the best from that. Then what we do is we send you a list of the social media updates that we've researched. And again, this is manual research that we've gone and sift through it. We don't use any tools to sort of automate this. There isn't any tools that you can really do to automate this. A person actually has to go through and manually check and choose the best ones. We send you a list of these updates that we research, and then we send it to you. And the only thing that you need to do is approve those. So you just need to spend 5 minutes, maybe once a month, just checking the things that we've already researched for you and ticking yes or no on the stuff that we've researched. And we might research like 30 different updates a month. And you just got to go through that. It's really easy. It takes 5 minutes for you to check. And then after you've checked it and you've approved it, for everything you've approved and said, yep, this is good to send out on the social media channels, what we then do is we then optimize it. So we add all the relevant images, we tag relevant people, we do everything we can to make sure the social media updates look really good. And then we schedule it out each day, Monday to Friday, on all of your social media channels, all the major social media channels, which are Twitter, Facebook, your LinkedIn company page, your LinkedIn, and your LinkedIn personal profile as well. And then after we do that, we also take an extra step. Because we are scheduling these updates, what can sometimes happen is maybe the article doesn't work anymore, or they've removed it, or they've changed the URL, or something else happens, or maybe there's something in the news that happens that would make the article that we scheduled irrelevant, or it wouldn't be the right time to post it. So what we do is every single week for all of our clients, we have a quality control check. So again, we manually go through all the updates that we've scheduled out for you. We make sure all the links still work, the article still works, everything still looks good, the images look good, just to make sure everything's working and everything looks good. So we also do that quality control check, so you have nothing to worry about. And as I mentioned, if you have any in the moment social media posts to share, you or your team can still do that on top of what we are already doing. So we're just trying to save you the main bulk of the work, and anything else you want to do is going to be extra, and you can do that yourself, and that's going to help, but you don't have to worry about it or stress out over it. And if you're wondering how much this costs, we just charge a monthly flat fee to do all of this for you. So if you're in the UK, it's $3.95 a month plus VAT. Or if you're anywhere else in the world, such as the USA or wherever, then it's $500 a month. Okay. But what I recommend that you actually do first before posting social media updates on all your social media channels is actually create a plan. So everything I've gone through now, when it comes to posting on social media, is great to building trust, but what you also want to do is you also want to generate leads, and you want to win more clients, and you want to convert those leads into paying clients, as I mentioned. So to do that, you need to have a plan, and you need to have a process in place to actually show you how you can not only build trust with your audience, but how you can actually generate leads on social media and how you can convert them into sales. So that's what I actually recommend as a first step. But I just want to go through that for a few minutes, just so you know what it is that is involved if at some point you do want to outsource it. And if you are interested in learning a little bit more about that plan, or learning a little bit more about posting social media updates, then just go to skylinesocial.com/apply. Okay, now for the rest of this training, I'm just going to go through some questions that I've received prior to the webinar and to this training. So I'm going to answer some of the most frequent questions I've had, and hopefully if you've had any other questions, if you're listening to this live on the Thursday when we're running it live, then in the chat box, if you've asked any questions, hopefully we've already gone through and answered them for you. Otherwise, we should be able to answer them here now. And if we haven't answered it yet, it's probably because we're saving it towards the end, because we're going to cover it here. And by the way, guys, if I am aware of the time, so if any of you do need to run off and head off to another meeting or do anything else, that's absolutely fine. I really appreciate you being on this call, and hopefully you've got a lot of value from the training. The last thing we're just going to go through now is just go through some questions and answers, just to help you out a little bit more if you have the time. But if you can't stay for the questions, that's fine. Again, just appreciate you being on here, and look forward to hopefully speaking with you soon and maybe even working with you at some point in the future. So let's go through the questions, right, that we have here. So the first question that I've had, and this was a very common question, was which social media channels should I join? So I get this all the time, right? Should I be on Facebook? Should I be on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, right? What are the best channels for me? So what I would recommend is having a look at who it is that you're actually targeting. So as I mentioned in that 6-step process, the first step is know your audience. So if you know your audience, you need to figure out, okay, what social media channels are those in my audience most likely to be on, and then join and be active on those channels. Just to clarify, you do not need to be on all of the social media channels. A lot of people try and say you need to be on everything. No, you don't have to be on everything. You can just stick to the social media channels that your target audience are using. And you also need to look at your time and resources. If you don't have the time to actually spend on a social media channel right now and be active and use it, then don't bother with it, because it's just going to look bad on you if you have a social media channel and it's empty. So I'd rather you focus on a few, maybe 1, 2, or 3 channels in the beginning, even 1 or 2 channels in the beginning, rather than join everything. But if you are wondering what are the main channels that you need to be aware of, the main channels are Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. They're the 4 biggest channels right now. And chances are your target audience are going to be on all of those, or at least some of those. Okay, so as I mentioned, just go to where your target audience are. If you're not sure how to actually find out what channels your target audience are using, just send me a message or let me know, and I can show you how you can actually do that in a separate video. Second question that I have is, should I post on my personal social media channels, my company social media channel, or both? Another really good question. So in a best case scenario, I recommend that you post on both, okay? Post on a personal social media channel and a company channel. However, if you do not have the time right now in your business to manage and maintain and post on a personal brand social media channel and a company brand, then you only need to stick to one. Then just focus on one. Don't do both if you can't handle doing both. So if you can handle it, great, do both. That's the best case scenario, but you can still get some good results even just posting on one channel. And if you're just starting out, it might be a better idea for you to actually focus on one channel in the beginning, get really good at that channel, and then you can always expand and add your personal brand or add your company, depending on how you want to do it. And if you do just want to focus on one channel and you're wondering, okay, what is better, my personal brand social media channel or my company? It really depends on what you want to grow in your business. What's the most important thing for you right now in your business? Is the most important thing for you to grow your personal brand? Then focus on your personal brand social media channels. Is the most important thing to grow your company? Then focus on the company social media channels. Focus on whatever you want to grow and whatever your goal is as a business. Now, just as a side point, I will say that since we do both for, I do both for myself in my own company, and I do both for some clients as well. In my experience, I have found that when it comes to using a personal social media profile, a personal brand profile, you usually get more engagement and better results because I think it's just because people like speaking to other people and they don't always know who's actually behind the company. So I usually always see when we do this for clients and even in my own business that we get more engagement, more leads and more results from a personal brand social media channel. That's not to say you can't or don't get any results from a company one. I've just seen the personal social media brand channel just do a little bit better. Okay, so that's just worth keeping in mind. But again, if your goal isn't to build a personal brand, then don't have a personal brand social media channel. Focus on the company instead. So it's ultimately up to you depending on your goals. Do both if you can. If you're not, focus on one. The next question is, should I post content from my own website? Yes, 100% you should post content from your own website. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see people making. They don't share their own stuff because they think, oh, I don't want to talk about my blog, or I don't want to talk about this video that I've done, or I don't want to talk about this event or webinar that I'm doing because it's going to sound too promotional. No, it doesn't matter about that. Post content from your website, okay? Because if you're posting content And if you're creating content on your website, that content most likely, and if it's not, then you're doing it wrong, but most likely that content, if you're doing it right, is going to be related and interesting to those in your target audience. It's going to be solving their problems, solving their challenges. It's going to be helping them. So it's going to be providing value to them. So yes, definitely post content from your own website. And if you're wondering how much content should you post from your own website compared to how much content should you post from your own from other people's websites and blogs, I recommend at least one post each day from your own website and one post each day from other people's websites. Now, obviously, to post one post each day from your own website, you're going to need a lot of content. If you don't yet have a lot of content on your website, then you can't post one post each day from your website. So just spread it out. Just do one each week or a few each week, depending on how much content you have. But the more content you have, the better it will be, because you're going to be sending traffic back to your own website, to your own brand. They're going to learn more about you and what it is that you do. And the more content you create, the more things you can actually post on your social media channel. So yes, do post content from your own website. The only thing I'd be wary of is posting content on your website if it's going to like a contact us page or like a really salesy page. I'd focus on social media at least to share content with pages that are designed to provide value first. It could be lead generation pages, or it could be pages with a video or with a guide or something that you've written. Pages that provide value, that's what I would focus on with social media. But yes, definitely post from your own website. Another question I had was how to come across as friendly while also professional. So this is an interesting one. I'm not 100% sure what it is that you're asking here, but if you're asking, how much stuff do you post on social media that's kind of more friendly and personal, while at the same time, professional and business-like, one thing that I will say, and this has been happening for a while now, but it's increasing even more, is that the line between your personal stuff and your personal life and your business life is becoming more and more blurred. So the sooner you embrace that, the better it's going to be for you. And I wouldn't worry too much about posting personal things. In fact, some of the things that we've got the most engagement on our business profiles on social media is personal stuff. Things that we're doing in the moment. Those in the moment updates that I spoke about earlier, they do really, really well because people can see the human side of you and they can see what it is that you're doing. So in answer to your question, I wouldn't shy away from you posting friendly and personal sort of things and things that you're doing in the moment. I'd recommend that you do, but at the same time, still have a balance of professional stuff. By professional, what I really mean is just have a balance of posting things that are going to be about your business and what it is that you do and how you help people. And if you have that balance, you're going to do really well, because you're going to be educating people as to what it is that you do and how you help people, while at the same time, you're going to be showing people your human side and what it is that you're doing, and that not everything is always work, okay? So people like to see the people behind the business. People like to see things that are happening in the moment. They like to see behind the scenes. So by all means, you can definitely do both. And you just need to be balanced with it, and don't worry too much about crossing that line between personal and business, because that line is so blurred right now, and it's just going to get even more blurred in the future. And like I mentioned, the sooner you embrace that, the better it will be for you, and don't worry too much about it. The next question is, what are the best types of content to post? So I don't think it's about necessarily the type of content. It's more about that the content that you post has value and provides value to those people. But if you are interested in what types of content are performing really well right now, it's usually guides and articles, and also videos. Videos is again a really big one, especially on YouTube. There's loads of videos out there for all kinds of different industries and stuff like that. And if there are YouTube videos for your target audience that they would find interesting, or you're producing your own videos, then that stuff is going to do really, really well. So that's what I would recommend, the best types of content to post: free guides and blogs and videos. Okay, and just be balanced, post a variety of both of them as well. The next question is, should I spend paid ads on my social media posts? This is a really good question, and we touched on this earlier. I think it was on one of the myths, whether you only can get people seeing your posts if you spend money on paid ads. Now, that's not true. You can actually get people seeing your stuff all the time organically, especially on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, they still do really well organically right now. But there is a time and a place to actually use paid ads. And what I would recommend that you do in order to get the best results is I would focus on following that 6-step process that we spoke about earlier to make sure that you have things going out every day. So do that always as the foundation, right? You always want to have new things, new content, good content going out every day. And then what I would do is if you're going to do paid ads, there's 2 types of paid ads that you can do to get you the best results. There's paid ads that will help you generate leads, which I've got training and guides and videos on how to do that in other videos and other webinars. So if you're interested in that, just send me a message and I can send you that content. But that's the one type of paid advertising that you want to do, which is focused on lead generation. And the other type of paid advertising that you want to do is again focused on trust building. And that's what you can do by basically paying to get more people to see the social media things that you post. And I would recommend that you do both. So if you have a budget that you can actually spend paid advertising money on, then I would recommend that you spend around 70 or 80% of your budget on targeting new people that haven't heard about you before to generate leads, and then focus on spending 20 or 30% of your advertising budget to boost your social media posts and get more people seeing them. And when it comes to boosting your social media posts, do not boost the content from other people that you're sharing. Only boost and only spend paid ads on your own content, the content that you have created. So that's pretty much all the questions I have here. So if you do have any other questions, I'm going to be sticking on the chat box for the next few minutes and just answering those in there. So if I haven't already answered your question, I'll be answering it in the chat box. And if you do have anything else, or if I have missed something that you've said, I apologize. I will do my best to get back to you later on. I'll be going through the chat just to make sure I haven't missed anything. And yeah, if you do need help with anything else when it comes to posting on social media, I'm more than happy to help you with that. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are interested in actually outsourcing your social media, whether that's outsourcing your social media posts or getting a social media strategy or a plan, or actually getting more leads from social media and more sales from social media, then if you need any help with that, then go to skylinesocial.com/apply. We are now enrolling new clients. So there's the link, and there should be a button as well which you can click on somewhere to actually join that. And we'll be more than happy to schedule a call and just have a chat a little bit more about what it is that you're doing, what your challenges are right now, what your goals are, and how we can actually get you from point A to point B. And yeah, I look forward to learning more about your business and hopefully talking with you soon. In the meantime, just want to say thank you for watching. Really appreciate your time. And if you need anything else, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help, and thanks for watching.